Sorry. I'm going to make it a little bit clearer there. Thank you, Dani. Time to begin. 2 minutes.
If any of you have ever seen Bill Murray's movie, What About Bob, we can see this very distractible character. He's been psychologically diagnosed with many ailments. He can't focus on anything, and throughout his life he suffers from agoraphobia, and he can't go outside because he gets confused by all these stimulants. And he doesn't really know what to do with himself. With the movie What About Bob as a backdrop, we can look to the quotation today from Julia Child that says, "In department stores, so much kitchen equipment is bought indiscriminately by people who just come in for men's underwear." Now, what we can see is what she's saying by this is, yeah, we go into department stores with a set track. We want to buy underwear, or we want to buy food, but we go in and buy snacks, and we buy kitchen equipment, we buy clothing, and we can see that we're kind of distractible ourselves. And you don't have to be psychologically diagnosed with anything to see that this is true. And I strongly agree with the quotation today because as human beings, we are very distractible, but we can see that we have to concentrate and set goals for ourselves to succeed in everyday life. And we can see how this is true by first looking to how this has been proven to us in the past and how we can applicate it ourselves. And also how we can do this on an everyday basis, practice it every once in a while for ourselves. So first let's look at how this has been proven in the past, by first looking at psychological aspect of this problem and also how children are taught. But first let's look at the psychological background of this with repetition. Now, things are taught to us kind of like on a survival basis. We learn that things are wrong sometimes, and we learn that things are right. And we learn these things by a repetitive basis. We see things happen and we learn from these. It's like kind of like mocking. Children learn by watching their parents. And when something is repetitive and we can see that it succeeds and we survive using this, we tend to go in that direction. So we can see that if we need to make a house, we need to make a hammer. So we do this kind of thing all the time, like in a job or a career basis, or like relationship statuses and how we move forward, and we kind of invent these little things ourselves. So we make small little goals in everyday life, like how they had to make the hammer to make the house. So we can see that psychologically we learn through these repetitive, successful things. And we can see that's how this is true also through children and how they are taught. Now, this can be seen through a childhood movie called The Little Engine That Could. And yes, it's a cartoon and it's a little Mother Goose story for children, but we can see that the engine set goals for himself. He wanted to bring the toys to the kids of the valley, and he didn't give up. He saw that other trains, bigger trains, did this, so he learned by watching what they did on a repetitive basis that succeeded in everyday life for them. So we can see that psychologically we know that things work by using them, and we can see that how children also know this, not only through movies, but how their parents teach them. So we can look at also how we can practice this ourselves on an everyday basis. So we can look to this by seeing how advertising is used against us and also how parents teach children. But first let's look at advertising. Now this rings true specifically in the quotation from Julia Child because it says that we go in to the store to get one thing, we come out with many other things. And people learn this psychologically, as I said, and it's used in advertising specifically. Now we put the candy at the end of the store so people can go buy it and want to replenish their need for sweets. And we read this psychologically in human beings, and we know it's true, and it continues to happen throughout our lives, and we can see that this is used against us in advertising, such as Julia Child says, but also parenting and children. We can see that they learn through mocking and like this repetition thing we said previously about how they see something, so they repeat it and they learn that it's successful. So we can do that in everyday life. When you see someone else do something that works and it helps them succeed, then you can inevitably copy or imitate that to help yourself move forward as well. So what we saw today was on the quotation from Julia Child, in department stores, so much kitchen equipment is bought indiscriminately by people who just came in for men's underwear. We can see what she's trying to say is people are not very focused on what they need all the time. And we need to set goals to succeed in life. And we saw this is true because it's been proven psychologically that we are repetitive people. We keep doing things that we know will work. And also we saw that children are taught in this way through children's movies and also through lessons at school. And we saw that we can practice this ourselves by like how people do in advertising and using these psychological tendencies of focus and goals. And we can set goals ourselves for parents and teaching children. So inevitably, what about Bob? You don't have to be psychologically diagnosed to have a problem like this. It's human nature.